painfully aware that as I speak right now, Gaza, the land where the great-grandfather of the Prophet ﷺ is buried, the land where Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu walked through to demand and ask the keys of Jerusalem, is now under the most vicious attack that it has been for the last 2 decades. As we speak right now, today, Israel demanded from over 1.1 million people, over half of whom are children under the age of 18, to evacuate from Gaza or else face complete annihilation. A defenseless population with nowhere to go, already cramped and crowded behind 50-foot walls, is being asked to do the impossible. Flee to where? Go where? You are the ones who have locked them up for over 25 years. You are the ones who have dehumanized them. You are the ones who have kicked them out of their lands 80 years ago, and their grandchildren and great-grandchildren have never lived the lives of normal human beings. Go where? Flee where? Dear sisters and brothers, one of the most obvious biases that we must call out and acknowledge, one of the most obvious biases of all human beings, including us, is internal group favoritism. We favor our own over others. And at some level, it is almost impossible to overcome this bias. If my son is involved in fighting with another person, almost always my heart will make some excuses for what my son does and overlook the injustices of my son and concentrate more on what the other person has done to cause my son to fight. But this internal bias, it might be excused if there's a fight that is somewhat equivalent, if there's a punch here and a punch there, if there's a curse here and a curse there. However, when one side is desperately using violence, when one side is completely and totally unjustified, then we cannot excuse ourselves by saying, oh, this is group bias. And what we are seeing right here, we must call this out for what it is. This conflict that we are seeing is not between two equivalent groups of people, not at all. On the one side, we have one of the most militarily powerful apartheid regimes, one of the last settler colonialist enterprises in the modern world. And on the other side, we have largely defenseless 2 million civilians, uprooted refugees in their own homelands. There is no equality. There is no parity. We are literally witnessing in real live time on the media, from our politicians, from our president all the way down, from so many celebrities, from so many voices of power, the blatant and continued dehumanization of the one side, the ignoring of the plight of one side, and that side is Palestinian and Muslim. The entire narrative is constantly framed as a specific condemnation of one group and the tactics of one group and the recent events that one group has done. Go listen to every interview. Go look at every press release. Go look at what our own president has said. It always hones in on the tactics of one group. We condemn this. Do you condemn that? Very well. That is a fair question to ask. But we have to ask in return, why is it that we have never once heard in over 80 plus years? Why is it that this deafening silence that we notice? Why is it that what is blatantly absent from every press release, from every interviewer, is the condemnation of war crimes against innocent Palestinian civilians? Where is the condemnation of the inhumane treatment, of the barbaric realities, of the blockages of the humanitarian efforts to over 2 million people? If you want me to condemn one tactic, are you willing to condemn 80 years of thousands of tactics? This reality brings into the sharp contrast the difference between the race, religion, and ethnicity of the victims. Not all human beings are treated as equal according to the eyes of the world that we live in. Not all blood is the same according to our own presidents and our own countries. No, the fact of the matter is that Palestinian blood, Muslim blood, Arab blood, does not carry the same weight as that of other people. And hence, there is the blatant dehumanization of an entire category of humanity. Sisters,